Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you so much for joining the Transportation Alliance today for our monthly webinar as part of our Massachusetts Development Grant. Today, we're going to be talking about opportunities for scholarships and how you can use funding through the program to support and enhance your bottom line through trainings and accreditation programs. This meeting is being recorded, and will be posted on the Ride Local Massachusetts website, which is www.ridelocalma.com, and will also be on the Transportation Alliance's YouTube channel. With that, I would like to thank our presenter today, Michael Shabke from Demtac. He is the founder of Demtac, who's going to lead today's discussion and talk to you about some grant opportunities exclusively for Massachusetts providers. So with that, thank you, Michael.
Thank you, Amanda. Hi, good morning, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us. I'm always excited to be able to present webinars and just information on what Demtac does. It's always a good opportunity to, thank everybody for the work that they do every day out transporting people in the community. It's hard work, but it's much appreciated from everybody. So always thank you to that. And today, thank you again. We are going to talk about a unique opportunity that I haven't seen. I'm relatively new to the industry, even forming Demtac, and we're 4 years old this month, by the way. Happy birthday to us, I think. And but that there's not many grant opportunities specific that include any MT providers. A lot of transportation grants out there, but not so much that include medical transportation. And recently, last year, the Transportation Alliance, doing what they do best, is representing the membership that they have all across the nation, applied for a grant in Massachusetts with the Mass Development Group, which is basically your Chamber of Commerce business development arm of the state, to be the administrator for these funds. They were awarded to be the administration, and there's a lot of flexibility that was given to the program and how to administer these funds, specifically to NEMT providers, or those that providing medical transportation, driver education, and it expanded its taxi, livery, and non-emergency medical transportation providers inside of the state. Whether you're an independent driver and or a company owner or operator, are eligible for this grant money. And when I got the call, again, I was blown away. There's very few opportunities. In fact, I haven't seen one yet in the last 4 years. That is the opportunity that we're going to talk about today. So as that is an introduction, I want to go back a little bit first of all, we're going to be able to answer any questions that you have and give you some resources to follow up on if you're interested in this grant funding. But a little bit of history, what does Demtac do, right? Non-Emergency Medical Transportation Accreditation Commission. That's always a mouthful, but Demtac, our critical important mission is, we're not a trade association. We're not a lobbying group. We're not, it really beholden to any individual stakeholder. We are the American National Standard Institute accredited standard developer. Another mouthful, right? And what does that mean? That means that through volunteer participation of 65 of your peers, every month meet to work to improve this industry. And that work it's unbelievable to see what is coming out of the advisory boards. It's exciting, it's incredible, and it's positive for everybody, all up and down the chain, I guess, of the NEMT industry. So we're an accredited standard developer. The mission is just ensure safety of your drivers, ensure safety of the passengers, provide accountability, make sure we're transparent in delivering the care that we do, the transportation that we do, and ultimately that the reliability, right? We're advocating for technology and things that are going to make this industry drive forward. So that's a lot to undertake, right, for an entire industry, in just a very short period of time. We're executing on all of those missions, all of ththose particular factors. This year in 2022, I always timestamp it. I hesitate because I'm like, it puts the goal and the deadlines on our organization. but we will have the very first set of American national standards related to the NEMT industry. And right off the bat, I think we're going to have level of service. I do believe we have structure operations that are ready to go, some of our trainings that we're going to talk about here in a minute. And what that means is, you know, we're not a regulatory body, and we're not, we can't make anybody do anything, right? That's not what we do. But what we do is work with the entire industry to say, hey, here's a you know, an issue, an item, a training process that is very fragmented, and everybody's doing it differently, or it's not even being done in the industry. If we all agree, let's make this a standard. Let's try to start simplifying our life. Credentialing, education, NEMT vehicle operations, compliance, and regulatory issues are all on the table at the moment. So it's always the pitch. If you're interested in that type of work, and you know, rolling up your sleeves and helping the momentum forward, we have openings. Occasionally, not all the time, but we have openings on the 5 advisory boards. We'd love for you to join and help out. So that's Demtac, a spiel for Demtac and what we do. So the grant, as it sits, is geared towards driver education. And like I had just mentioned, the driver can be an independent contractor or an independent driver. It could be anybody that's affiliated as an independent contractor or employee of a company or an organization. And then it's an organization itself are all eligible to apply for the grant funding. So it's very flexible, right? Ultimately, we want, I had my dream. Everybody in the state has a patch on their shoulder, or certified, you know, nationally certified as a NEMT certified transport specialist, right? That's what we do. But the education is much more than just our program. If you have driving education needs, driver's education, the defensive driving courses are also available through the National Safety Council, is who we have a relationship with, but driving courses, management courses, sensitivity training are all kind of on the table. So if you do have an educational need as an organization, it's not exclusive to Demtac. We'd love for you to be in our programs, but more importantly, we want everybody just to have this opportunity. So don't let your imagination, you know, hold with you know, stifle you. Contact us, get a hold of the Transportation Alliance, and work through if you have additional educational needs. There's some flexibility there. Doesn't mean it's going to be approved, but there's some flexibility there. So what do we do though? What does Demtac have that is approved? If you applied today, a very simple application process we'll talk about in a moment, but through the application process, it's very simplified. It's online. Don't be afraid. Don't be intimidated because it's a grant application. Just go online and let's get it done. Because these are what's up on tap for you. And one is the Certified Transportation Specialist training. It's a 2-year certification. It's the only certification that exists quite like that. It really is geared towards everybody in the NEMT industry. And when I say that, because it's pretty broad, right? The ideas for the Certified Transport Specialist is, you know, this world is changing. The industry has changed dramatically just in the last 36 months. And I benchmark everything in 36-month increments. So what is the next 3 years going to look like? It's a rocket ship. But this has been we've been pretty busy as an industry being incorporated into the healthcare continuum. Meaning we, as all of us, everybody in, you know, in our world, we're in this massive form of transformation that is finally, we're being recognized as the healthcare providers, that we're important, right? We're not a logistics company. We're not taking packages. You know, we're transporting people's loved ones and vulnerable population of folks to the critical and important care that they need, right? We're the wheels that get them there. So we've had an identity crisis since inception. You know, are we transportation? Are we healthcare? We have a foot in each side. Well, healthcare has just dragged us into their world, and it couldn't be better for all of us for a lot of reasons we won't talk about today. And I could be on a soapbox for a long time, but they have dragged us in, and we're in the right spot. Meaning, we're being recognized for the providing and the care that we do. It's important. So with that, certification, education, training, you know, that the whole world of healthcare revolves around it. Whether you're a CNA, an LPN in a care facility, or you're a nurse, a physician, all the way up. everybody needs to be educated to some extent, right? And we're no different. So we formalized the training that we know that healthcare providers are looking for, the payers are looking for, and the brokers are looking for. Everybody that is a source of revenue, I think, for the organizations. And we put it into a big pot. And what meaning that we wanted the certification to be something that when you have it, you know that you could be credentialed, you know that you're going to be viewed as a peer, and everybody understands what the training is. You don't have to explain it. You know, hey, I'm taking, philosophy of Middle Eastern arts. What does that have to do with NEMP? You don't have to, this is not what this is. So it's made up of 15 courses. It's approximately, it's a little less than 6 hours, but it's an online module course that your drivers or yourself can take. It's self-paced. You can do, don't do it at a stoplight. I would say you do it at an intersection. Pull over, you can do a course while you're waiting for the next call and keep moving on, if it makes sense. And you're gonna have a patch, you're gonna be recognized, and I always do this patch on the shoulder. I don't even know if people put patches on the shoulders, but you're gonna be nationally recognized when you walk into a facility. It's turned out to be a tremendous market differentiator, and the return on investment for organizations that are paying for it, and you guys don't have to pay for it, that are paying for it, has been really, really fun to see the business that's come out of that, because people recognize it. You walk in the door, they know what you're doing if you have the right, right training. So we're excited about it. I launched about 2 years ago, 18 months ago, and that's one of the really the main staple training of this grant, right? There's enough funds. I'm overstating this. Conceivably, there were and could be enough funds to almost trained every driver in the state, as far as we know. I mean, it's a big chunk of money to be able to get folks trained. So don't pass it up. This is a unique opportunity to get that done. The next piece of it is conflict resolution for the NEMT professional. We were approached early in our formation, maybe 2008, late 18 or 19, by some HMOs, right? Payers, insurance payers, the business that we all want you guys to have, right? It's a tremendously better, just it's a good population to be able to serve as private insurance and private facilities like hospitals and nursing homes. We were approached and saying, hey, look, we want them to, we want a conflict resolution. I can't say it any other way. We're not interacting in the most positive way when people are getting dropped off, passengers, etc. So we sat back and said, well, to be fair, nobody's had that training, right? There's not even a guideline out there on how to interact with challenging situations, with interpersonal situations. So we created one. So the conflict resolution course is 1 hour. If you have United, Aetna, or one of the Blues, and I'm not sure they're all, if any, in Massachusetts or not, but those are the HMOs that I guess I don't say recognize it, but they enjoy seeing that. I'll put it that way. It would be nice feather in your cap if you do business with them that you have put your folks through that. 1 hour. It's just a quick down and kind of friendly way to handle difficult interactions and how to resolve it positively. It's not just for your business, right? It's for your personal life, your relationships, your family. There's really good tips in that. So that's a 1 hour course. The one I think that's definitely has the most traction, that has the highest return on investment at the moment, and is probably the most important training that you could have if you provide gurney or stretcher operations. Coffee. Is our stretcher operation. It's a certified stretcher operator course, and certified means something, right? Certified, it's a 2-year program that drivers are in attendance of NEMT companies that provide stretcher operations go through. It's a pretty intensive. It's a online and hands-on component of it. So there's in-person validation of your skills, much like folks that have wheelchairs go through a securement course. It's that plus a little bit more. And why did we do that? First of all, didn't exist. That we're filling in a void. There was no training. It was, you know it better than I do as the providers and owner operators. You usually depend on the manufacturer to do some training or in service when you purchase a gurney, or you got something off the internet. A lot of people do the web. There's YouTube videos that are pretty good that they make their people sit through, and you do show them how the gurney works. Not the best practice, right? And I say that in a way because I come from, my background is ambulance operation, 27 years or something, god awful number of experience in EMS. There's no training program there either. We have ambulances out there today. Every ambulance company, they do their own training. They have their training departments. They focus on it, and they're really good training, but it's fragmented. You know, there's no national certification for it. So because that didn't exist, I'm like, well, we have to do something for NEMT specific. So stretcher operations, the focus of it is keeping everybody safe. And the highest, it's a surprising stat, because you think maybe vehicle accidents are the highest payout or the highest risk in litigation. And it all unquestionably, it's gurney incidents where it's a tip, a fall, you know, that something happens when the person is, you're in your custody, basically, right? They're on your gurney and something happens to them. It's not only is it usually horrific injuries, depending on the event, it's a big check. There's no other way to say it. You are going to, if you're an owner operator, there's very, very little room for you to say it was somebody else's fault because they're on your gurney. We have one of our advisory board members that has a educational session called the price of a pea. And you're like, what the price of a pea, what does that mean? It's about gurney tips, meaning, and the analogy is a rock, a pebble, the size of a pea will tip that gurney over because of high center of gravity. If you don't operate it correctly, and you don't have your hands on it and all the things that you need to do, will tip that gurney. And what is that price? And he goes through what the payout has been, including fatalities. So not even cause the loss of life and limb, the payout on the insurance side. So I can't, if you just tell by the tone of my voice, how important the stretcher operations are. We have trained folks in the state of Massachusetts. You have some of your peer companies or competitors that have gone through that. We've also put on I think there was 7, 8, or 9, somebody's going to correct me at some point, 7, 8, or 9 certified transport instructors inside of the state that can teach this course to your folks. If you are, again, have a larger operation and you want in-house one of your trainers to be an instructor to teach it to your folks, contact us. All of this is free money. The grant is eligible. You're eligible for this training. You're eligible for the certified transport instructor for the instructor course, also to train the trainer. So stretcher operations, Massachusetts is a gurney state. I'm from Arizona, maybe tell by the background. But I'm from Arizona, and we're a stretcher operations state also. Not every state allows it. It's very it's a sporadic. But if you do, it's a good business to be in. You guys know it better than I do, like I always say. But not if you're not trained. Handing somebody the key, showing them how a striker or a Furno works, and then sending them out in a van is just not. I'll just leave it there. It's just not, right? So stretcher operations. One of the additional course we just added, it went live during our conference in September of 21, just a few months ago. Yeah, a few months ago. Is our mobility device securement. So it's a course that picks up on if you're a stretcher operator or if you're a certified transport specialist, or as a standalone component, it's the wheelchair side of the world, right? And why we call it mobility device instead of wheelchair securement or wheelchair something other or whatever, any other word, is the world is changing again. Mobility device is the appropriate term for anybody that needs an assisted device is covered under mobility device. So it's wheelchairs, it's scooters, it's walkers, there's canes, anything that people need to get around to make their day a little brighter and to do what they need to do is covered under this course. It's brand agnostic, it's securement equipment agnostic, meaning we're not training to any one specific item, we're training all of it. It's a hands-on, just like stretcher. There's an online component and a hands-on validation component that you're doing the skills necessary to be successful. In combination, if you do those two pieces of business inside of you're more than ambulatory, and you do those, you have a ticket to reducing your liability. It's reducing risk to your passengers and your drivers. There's a crazy statistic about back injuries related in the NEMT industry done by Zurich insurance company, the underwriters. Looked at injuries, workers' comp injuries on inappropriate bending, moving, lifting of this type of, it's off the charts. How many of us have back problems because of, we didn't lift properly or our partner didn't lift properly and we got injured. So it covers body mechanics. It's going to make your employees safe. the people that you transport, and ultimately, it is a return on revenue. Education in general, and it's hard for sometimes to think about it when your margins are really low, your days are crammed with transports and busy. But education, I can't emphasize it enough. It's not, we'll set aside the professionalism of it and the appearance and just doing the kind of what is needed to be done. When it's all said and done, folks want to know that when they call you, your organization, that you have highly trained, motivated, friendly drivers, right? And you're not drivers, right? We're not drivers. We're professionals, right? We're part of the healthcare continuum, just like I started, and this demonstrates that, right? So it's always hard to spend money. That's a barrier, and I get it. I really get it after talking and knowing, knowing the folks that I've been introduced to. We've taken that barrier away in the state of Massachusetts. So this grant has the opportunity to train all of your folks, I believe, right? I mean, I always overstate things, so don't hold me. I always get corrected, but this could train your entire company in the things that you need to learn to no expense. It's the best gift anybody could give. Yeah, I can't talk about it. We're going to use it or lose it, and I'll wrap up with that moment where if these funds aren't used, it gets reallocated, and it would be a shame to have dollars that finally got recognized, and the dollars got reallocated because we didn't have enough interest, or people didn't take us up on it. So free money, not a bad. You're welcome. Thank you, TTA, for doing that. Right. So just a little bit on the certified. I already kind of mentioned it, and I probably should have gone to the slide. But the certified transport specialist, this is what's included in that training. And like I said, we worked with the brokers, we worked with state regulators, we worked with insurance companies, and took all of the commonality of what they needed for credentialing and courses that potentially could be needed is what we've put into that. That's why it is a longer course, because everybody rolls their eyes. Oh, I got an hour, 6 hours. Again, you don't got to take it, sit for 6 hours for anything. You take it in 20-minute increments if you want to get through it. But when you get done on the other side, you have certification or validation of training that is really important. So in the state of Massachusetts, you all have credentialing requirements. I just looked at Texas. I don't think I put the slide up, and I'm not going to scramble for it. But Texas has redone all of their education. We didn't even have it. I mean, we know the folks at Texas Medicaid. Every one of these courses is being required now in the state of Texas. It was awesome, by the way. It's awesome, by the way, for us. I don't think it just happened, right? It was organic that they took the CTS on their own and adopted. So transportation specialists, you're going to be credentialed. You're in 2-year increments. You have a single source of education for your folks, not sending them to a bunch of different programs, is available, right? And you can see on the screen exactly what's is included inside of that training. If there's something specific, by the way, in Massachusetts, and I don't think there is, let me know. If there's basket weaving for the NEMT professional may be coming out, next iteration if we need it. Okay, so we talked the education dollars that are available. Again, it's not exclusive to Demtac. If you have other training needs, let us know. Let the Transportation Alliance know. If again, driving courses, the National Safety Council is kind of widely the standard in the industry. We have a great relationship with the National Safety Council. We actually share their training management program that they use also. It's awesome, is how we deliver our education. So know that if you need a DDC course, defensive driving course, that it's available too. So again, I'm with Demtac, but I want this money to be spent, right? Regardless of the agency or who's actually getting the dollars allocated. Okay, so moving on, the accreditation program, make sure I'm on time for everything. For the accreditation program is also eligible. So what is the difference between certification and education, right? It's pretty big. So, sorry. Education is the, I love that. Education is the certification is for the driver. Accreditation is for the company. So we, again, in 2020, 21, really in 2021, we developed the first only national accreditation program for an actual organization, right? For an NEMT company or a transportation company that does medical transportation, are being recognized all over the United States and are being accredited at a national level. And really, what does that mean? Well, it's not mandatory. Like I said, we're not regulators. This is as a industry or a company's voluntary submission and voluntary participation, saying that we go above and beyond. You know, our website says we do, and our marketing material says we do, and we really do. And we would like somebody to come in and validate our processes. And with that, we're confident that we meet and or exceed any of the national standards and or any of our payer requirements. Really powerful thing to have. We talk about return on investment. This is an investment. It's not dollars, because this is very affordable for an NEMT company owner or operator. The investment is getting to the point to become accredited. And what it means is that you've taken the time and attention and rolled up your sleeves with you and your team, and saying, yeah, we're going to do things in a way that exceed best practices, right? We have seat belts. Our vehicles are well maintained, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Keep going down the line. So national accreditation for an NEMT company is important. I think it's going to become more and more important, again, as we get the opportunities inside of healthcare. There are no non-accredited hospitals in the United States. There are no non-accredited nursing homes or any facility, I believe, in the United States. The ambulance industry has a very mature accreditation process for high-performing ambulance companies. We have that also for air medical companies. So it's not a foreign concept. We put this out there because we want the NEMT industry to have the same opportunities for the contracts, for the better pay, for the better margins that accreditation brings you down the road. So we are, unfortunately, hopefully you can't see this. Let me hide that. And if that's not on, that would be terrible if that was on the screen. So National NEMT Accreditation Program, only one, like I said. It distinguishes your organization. The return on investment is tenfold if you take the time and have the energy and effort to bring your program into compliance, right, with the national standards. For Demtac, started, like I said, we have companies, there we go, now the slide, that are have applied, or in the process of, all over the place, and we're excited. You see that the number in queue, and trust me, we are busy. Our days are busy. Probably even tell by tone of voice and the way we rush through things. But our days are busy. Accreditation is not a fad. It has been viewed as something that's important for these organizations. We have 9 fully accredited, I believe 8 fully accredited companies that have gone from soup to nuts and gone through it and are now recognized that way. And because they've become accredited, they're getting opportunities that never in a million years would they have been able to even imagine. And I don't want to oversell it, but accreditation brings a certain sort of a professionalism and an understanding of peers that you don't know that you have. And whether it's a vehicle manufacturer, and I'll wink an eye at that, or equipment manufacturers or payers, large national payers are interested in this also for NEMT companies to be recognized. So take a look. California is leading the pack of companies that have some sort of involvement with our accreditation process at the moment. Because you're Massachusetts, forget California, Massachusetts. The dollars associated with applying for the accreditation process for Demtac is equal to half of the fees. So 50% of the fees, which are very affordable. And I'll give you the scale here in a moment. The affordable fees, 50% of it is covered by the grant. Why would you not apply for that, right? 50%, you don't have to be accredited tomorrow. You have to apply tomorrow and get yourself in queue. So I highly recommend, why would we leave dollars on the table in the side of the state? And what are the accreditation fees? It's $750 for small companies, $750. Half of that is now available to the grant. So what's half, right? 50% of 750, 325, 75, right? That's my math. I'm glad I'm not a banker. The next one is the medium-sized companies is 1,500, again, 15% off. And then large providers that have large fleets is $2,500. I may be misstating that, but $2,500. 50% of it off, just off. All you need to do, it's like a telephone. All you need to do is apply, go to the website, and get yourself in queue, and we'll work out the back end of it. Because it is a process, right? It's not, you don't just, hey, I want to be accredited and you're accredited tomorrow. We'll walk you through the steps to get inside of the program and to be successful. Because ultimately we want, happy, healthy passengers, drivers, owner operators that have a well-funded, nice margin business that is focused on serving the needs of the community. Is there anything better than that? We're not just out there just slopping around every day, trying to make ends meet. The industry is changing, and hopefully we're a part of that with you. Okay, so that is what I have for our presentation. I absolutely have time to answer questions. I am remiss because I didn't put the slide up. If Amanda, while I'm talking here and concluding, we could put up the website that they could go to apply for it. It is www.ridelocalma.com.
Yes.
.com. Thank you. See, I always need somebody. Thank you for saying .com. ridelocalma.com. It has information on the grant that I just talked about. More importantly, it has the online application. The online application is, it couldn't be easier to fulfill. And let me do that. There we go. And it couldn't be easier to complete. There's no reason not to do it other than not understanding. And so I'm here from Demtac's point of view. Amanda is here. We have other Transportation Alliance folks on the line. If you have questions or you have any concerns, I'm so motivated to have these dollars allocated. I will I will go there and I will do the application for you because it's that simple. But it's that important. I alluded to it earlier, 30 days-ish. What's the date today? We have 30 days left until the funds get returned or reallocated. So today is March, if we're on a webinar, today is March 24th. So we have until April 30th to get your application in for these training dollars or accreditation dollars. So the time is ticking. You're going to see a lot of additional social media blasts and, just trying to get that information out. If this doesn't fit you or your organization, but you know of somebody, please network this out. Just get it out to anybody because you never know who it could help. Every dollar is precious. It's tight. This training will offset some of the fuel expenses if you had to do both with what's going on with fuel prices. So let's take advantage of it. So with that, Amanda, I don't know if we have any questions or what would you like to do?
Yeah, thank you. I have a couple questions and a couple points to drive home to folks. So to remind everybody, for the total amount you're available for each company, we have the driver scholarships, which will pay up to $150 retail price per driver within your company for educational and training programs. And then for the scholarships for the fleet accreditation, that is up to $1,250 per organization. So there's two separate opportunities for your company to look into. Michael, I think one of the questions we've heard is with a very aging population in the United States. I believe right now we're at 50 million people over 65. And I think in the next 8 years, that's expected to reach what, over 75 million or 70.
Unbelievable. Yeah.
Yeah, it's crazy. So I think as companies are looking at different diversification opportunities and getting into the NEMT industry, that's a good number for them to think about, is where they can play a role. And so I'm hoping you can just kind of touch base on, if this is new to an organization, why it is worth the investment now and to go through this process while this opportunity is here, and to not let that pass up.
That's fantastic, right? And that's such a nice way to cue up what I live and breathe 24/7, which is taking advantage of the opportunity and understanding that we're healthcare providers. The transportation is so critical to the well and being of a person and positive outcomes that it just could not be a better time to be, if you're in NEMT, because it doesn't feel like it every day, because it is a hard business to manage. But if you're in NEMT or you're considering to be in this industry, or if you're a taxi provider looking to expand, just like Amanda said, or want to diversify a bit, couldn't be a better time. In fact, when I say better time, this year, this moment, today, because it's a silver tsunami is one of the main, it's called the silver tsunami. I don't know who came up with that. I love that name, that term, but it's the aging population is exactly right. That's the stat. We're going to double the age of 65 and over the next 8 years. All of the baby boomers are timed out now. So now we're starting the generation of the folks that were born in the 70s, right? Not the 60s anymore. Now it's the 70s and the 80s, which to me, 80s, we all was like yesterday for me. So the aging population is absolutely a driver in this. And the other main driver, and this is an important one, is because Medicaid has always covered NEMT as a benefit. Congress passed a law. Everybody thought it was like a law. It wasn't. Medicaid NEMT could have gone away with any administration, with a presidential decree and work that they could have wiped out the NEMT benefit. That is no longer possible. So the law was codified, is the word codified, into effect for Medicaid. Concurrently, there is momentum to expand this to the Medicare population, which is an enormous population, right? Medicare and Medicaid, two very vastly different programs, federal programs. Medicare Advantage plans have picked up on that ability to offer transportation at a rate that nobody thought was going to be possible. We have Joe Namath on TV every moment. I think I feel like every minute that I look at the TV, Joe Namath talking about Medicare Advantage plans that are now offering transportation that are, during open enrollment. So the Medicare, all the Medicare Advantage plans, over 50% of them now offer transportation. And within the next 24 months, the rest basically are going to have transportation as a benefit. Better margin, better place to, it's better. So we want the Medicare Advantage plans to offer that. And what's really interesting to watch right now is Medicare, general Medicare, Part A, that doesn't cover any transportation unless it's ambulance inside of an emergency, basically, right? Or a transfer of a medical patient. Is the ambulance covered? Is the ambulance coverage? There's discussions, right? It's about, there's discussions at the Medicare level. So if that happens, that opens up, I don't know, it was like some god awful, it was an enormous amount of people, 120 million additional transports or potential transports, some big number. So that's exciting, right? There's an excitement to that. And then the third component of why this is the time, the moment, is private insurance companies. There's something called the Social Determinants of Health, SDOH. SDOH is a recognition by the healthcare providers, and that's a big "the" with quotes, up and down the chain, from if you're a social worker, if you're a psychiatrist, psychologist, if you're an addiction specialist, addiction medicine specialist, up to a heart surgeon, to the administrators of hospitals and the administrators of health plans, all recognize nothing that they do works if the person doesn't show up to their appointment. None of it. You're going to die if you don't get the surgery. You're going to have not good outcomes if you don't go to an inpatient or outpatient facility if there's a substance abuse issue that you're dealing with, a medical, healthcare issue that is not being addressed appropriately, right? We know it. It's intuitive. Of course we know that. You can't get somewhere, you're not going to get the service or dollars or product that you need. We're right-sizing it. The United States government, without having a giant program, it's just that recognition to me is again, I could go on forever. So it's exciting. We're not nationalizing and we're not doing anything. We're doing the right thing. So what do we need to do that? We need NEMT companies, right? Just like you, training their folks, having good operations, having vehicles, and able to have a viable transportation network. Is none of that works. You can go to symposiums day after day, and it all stops with, well, how do we get people here, right? And then how do we get them home? We happen to have the tools to do that. This entire industry, right? $12 billion industry now. There's 19,000 NEMT companies in the United States that do the business, are registered to do the business. and 250,000 people that drive or participate in this industry. It's going to double, if not triple. So free education is a good place to start, right? If you're looking at the pivot, let's get your folks trained, get your drivers trained. If you have an existing organization, take a look, download our self-assessment and see if we're ready. If you're ready to start an accreditation journey, we're there for you. Meaning we'll help you understand if you're ready or not, right? We'll go through the checklist and work through your operations to see if you're ready. The tools are here. The resources are here. There's no cost for it. It's just nuts in the state of Massachusetts. So long answer to a short question, but this is the time, right? This is the time to be involved. Yeah.
Thank you. Joe, did you have a question?
Well, I didn't have a question. I wanted to make a comment though.
Great.
I wear two hats in the NEMT industry, and the first has always been as a consultant. And I always try to work with companies to help them increase their business. Part of increasing your business means to put together proposals that will impress the folks that are giving out the work, whether it be a private agency or a private hospital or a governmental agency like Medicaid, Medicare, or whatever the case may be. And this presentation by Michael was so incredible because when he presented all of the different certifications that your company and your drivers could get to lead to the company accreditation, I was just blown away by this. I have talked to Michael about it and I've heard presentations about this, but to see it kind of listed the way it was and categorized is so impressive. So as a consultant, I see companies in Massachusetts who want to do NEMT to grow their business, whether they are strictly an NEMT company or a taxi company. I see this as a remarkable opportunity to increase your company's income portfolio by elevating your company's profile. Now, the second hat I wear is that of a transit expert witness, and I've done about 300 cases, and I think 125 of them have involved medical passengers in medical transport. And the key issue in all of these cases, nobody ever asks me to say whether the event happened or not. Everybody knows whatever the lawsuit is about, it happened. What I am always asked to say is, was the company negligent? Did they train their drivers properly? Did they operate properly? Was the driver exposed to the type of training that would show that they were not negligent, that they were doing a good job? And this accreditation totally blows away the argument that you're not doing a good job of training, and you're not doing a good job of operating, and you're not doing a good job of maintaining a quality service. So if you are, again, a Massachusetts company, and you're worried about risk management, you're worried about control of your losses, you're worried about claims, and you have this type of certification on your side, there's almost no case against you, okay? And at that point, it's just an accident. And that's why we have insurance, okay? So the injuries will be covered by the insurance, but to sue for negligence is ridiculous, because look at this incredible way we're training our drivers and running organizations. So I was blown away by this proposal. I'm sorry, by this presentation, and anybody who sees this should recognize this for what it is. It's a two-punch. It helps you become a better company, and it helps you to defend yourself against claims. So I couldn't be more impressed by this presentation.
Well, thank you, Joe. That's the message. I couldn't say it better, right? That is the message. It's increasing revenue, decreasing your expenses, and mitigating any type of liability or risk. What Demtac does in its core, and what all accrediting companies or standard developers do, is it creates an arm's length relationship between you and potential negligence or risk out there. Is exactly what Joe does. We went back and forth. We were doing presentations on lifting and gurney operations and wheelchair securement. Joe's very passionate about the folks that he's represented on both sides of that equation. And the commonality of it is that those are high dollar, very, very, sometimes soul crushing cases that involve, tremendous injury. So we couldn't be more serious about, the positive effects of training, of education, and being able to say, we did something, right? Accidents happen, incidents happen, but we are trained. Here's the piece of paper that says we are, and here's the validation of that training. It just goes a long way, right? It's the right thing to do in regards to that. So yeah, I appreciate those comments. That's a lot of cases, Joe. 300. It just makes me want to grow hair. Is what that does. It's getting an extra witness on that many cases. That's fantastic. So yeah, that's great. Thank you for the comment.
Yeah, thank you, Joe. I'd like to open it up and see if there's anything else anyone has. In the meantime, I'm going to share my screen to show everybody. Can you see my screen?
Yep.
Okay, perfect. So the Ride Local Massachusetts website here, if you go to the For Fleet Operators page, this is where you're going to find the information about scholarships and applying for the excuse me, for your fleet and also your driver scholarships. So if you're interested in the accreditation, leadership training, anything like that for your fleet, you can apply right here. And then the scholarships for drivers, this includes the Certified Transportation Specialist and Conflict Resolution course that Michael talked about today, as well as some other options that we have on here that you can apply. And as Michael said, these are very easy applications. You just fill out your company's information and the kind of scholarship you're looking for. And then we'll be in touch with you if we need any additional information. So wanted to share where that is on the website. Again, that's ridelocalma.com, and how you can find that. So with that, Michael, is there anything else you want to say?
Yeah, no, yeah, thank you. Really to summarize, can't say it enough, right? This is a unique opportunity that doesn't come along, and once these dollars are gone, they're just gone. I don't think it's going to be renewed, so I'm not sure of it, but let's take advantage of it. There are two organizations that every day work on making your lives better, and better is a big word, right? But we're working to improve an industry, and that's the Transportation Alliance that represents the transportation provider. Is working with legislators, is working with folks in Congress to educate them on the unique needs of NEMT and the transportation industry, taxi, delivery, black car, all the gamut. Good organization to belong to. They are your voice in Washington. They are your eyes and ears of what's going on, and there's a lot going on. It's unbelievable what's going on, like I alluded to. And then of course Demtac, right? On a very different side of it, but very complementary, is we're developing the first set of national standards that folks can finally look at and say, okay, my drivers are credentialed in this box, and I don't have to make them go take a jump rope class to be accredited. We have a lot of initiatives like that, big sweeping initiatives. So check us out, nemtac.org, nemtac.org. Always looking for input, collaboration, and ideas, right? And that's what we do every day, every moment that we have. So no, that's it. It's a unique opportunity. Call me, get a hold of me, get info@nemtac.org if you have additional questions, and we will make sure that you get the dollars that are eligible, right? That's the key to it. Spread the word, help spread the word for sure. So that's all I have.
Thank you so much, Michael. Thank you everyone for joining us today. If you have any questions, again, you can get in touch with Michael at info@nemtac.org, or you can also contact us through the Ride Local Massachusetts website, ridelocalma.org. There's a contact page which you can get in touch with us right through there. I apologize. Thank you, Michael, for a great presentation today, and I hope everyone has a great afternoon. Thank you.
Thank you all. Have a good day. Thanks, folks.
Bye.